Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the materials for a product line called LifeWave. We'll be looking at the claims and concepts right from their own documentation.
Okay, so the big idea, the central claim that you see everywhere in the LifeWave literature is this: self-healing with light. It's a pretty bold statement, right? So our job here is to really unpack what the company means by that, according to the materials they provide.
So, that leads to the obvious question, how is this all supposed to work? Let's dive right into the mechanics that the company lays out.
To really get a handle on the product, first we have to look at the core concept they present. They call it phototherapy, and it's pretty much the foundation for everything else they talk about.
So what is phototherapy according to them? Well, they define it as a process where your body's own heat is the power source. It activates these tiny organic crystals inside the patch. Those crystals then reflect very specific wavelengths of light back onto your skin, and the whole idea is to create a biochemical response, all without anything physically entering your body.
The theory behind all of this really comes down to energy flow. The material says that when you're healthy, your body's energy flows freely, kind of like a river. But when you're unhealthy, that flow gets blocked up. So the stated goal here is to use light to get that energy moving freely again and let the body's natural healing process take over. So, how does this phototherapy idea actually work with the patches? Well, the documentation connects it to some pretty ancient principles, specifically acupuncture. The documents draw a direct line between what they're doing and traditional acupuncture. The idea is, instead of using needles to stimulate specific points on the body and improve energy flow, these patches are designed to use light to gently stimulate those exact same points. They even call it acupuncture without the needles.
So it all boils down to this three-step process they describe. Step 1, you put a patch on a specific spot. Step 2, your own body heat kicks in and powers it up. And step 3, the patch reflects light back into your skin to stimulate the nerves, which they say is what triggers that desired response. Now, this is a really important point they make over and over. The patches are non-transdermal. This means all the stuff inside them, amino acids, water, organic compounds, it's all part of the light-reflecting system. Nothing actually goes through your skin or into your bloodstream. Of course, with any technology like this, there's a right way to use it. The materials give some very specific instructions about staying hydrated, where to put the patches, and something they call polarity. And wow, they are not kidding around about this next point. The user guide emphasizes this above everything else: hydration. They say being well hydrated is absolutely critical for your body's energy flow, and that it's the #1 reason someone might not get a response. The guide also lays out some of the basics, put them on clean, dry skin, don't wear them for more than 12 hours, and you have to store them properly, away from heat and things like strong electromagnetic fields. This is kind of interesting. For the patches that come in pairs, the documentation talks about a polarity system. Generally, the white patch goes on the right side of your body, and the tan patch goes on the left. The single patches have their own specific placement guides, usually along the center of the body. All right, now let's take a quick tour of the different types of patches they talk about in the documents. The product line is pretty diverse, and each one is marketed for a very specific purpose. You can really see how the product line has grown over 15 years. It all kicked off back in 2004 with the Energy Enhancer patch. From there, it expanded into things like pain relief, anti-aging, and most recently in 2019, the X39, which they market as a stem cell patch. So here's a little snapshot of some of the key products and what they're supposed to do. You've got LifeWave for pain relief, glutathione for immune support, Aeon for stress reduction, and the X39, which is said to elevate a peptide that activates your own stem cells. The documentation also points to specific clinical data to back up these claims. For example, they cite a 2013 study, a double-blind, placebo-controlled one, where a whopping 94% of participants reportedly felt pain relief using the LifeWave patch. And then there's this number, 300%. It's a major claim for their glutathione patch. The material says it's clinically proven to boost your body's glutathione levels, which they call the master antioxidant, by 300% in just 24 hours. All right, but what happens when it doesn't work? The guide actually dedicates a whole section to potential issues, possible side effects, and, you guessed it, some very important disclaimers. And what I find pretty interesting is that the document asks this question itself. It offers up several potential reasons why a user might not get the results they were hoping for right away. So, the troubleshooting tips circle back to a few key areas. And guess what's at the top of the list again? Dehydration. But they also suggest that things like high toxicity levels, putting the patch in the wrong spot, blocked energy flow, or even certain mineral deficiencies could be getting in the way. The guide also gives a heads up about potential temporary side effects, things like headaches or feeling tired. It frames these symptoms as part of the body's detoxification process. And that brings us to the final, and you could argue the most critical piece of information from the source material. After all the descriptions of benefits and all the clinical results, the documentation includes this formal precaution. It kind of leaves you to think about how all the claims we've just gone over are meant to be understood when you see this official disclaimer right alongside them.